Well, I'm Ren Harris. My wife is Marilyn Harris. And for the last 55 years, we've been married. And for 53 of those, we've been growing grapes and making wine in Napa Valley in the Oakville district and enjoying the process the whole time. It's been good.
Nothing short of amazing for all those things. And what would you say, or why do you make what you make? Start with that.
Well, I had an opportunity coming in the 60s to pick and choose from among various areas in the valley and also to go to school, even though I'd already gotten out. I went back and learned something about grapes, not so much wine, but growing grapes. And I got to experience what areas in Napa Valley were doing well. And we settled on the Oakville district and then bought several pieces, initially a prune orchard in Oakville, and we eventually traded into what is today Paradigm. And that was in 1975 when we made the move to where Paradigm is today. And it seemed to be soil-wise and weather-wise, pretty much the ideal area, even though Napa Valley as a whole is pretty ideal. And we wanted to concentrate on Cabernet, and we're in the middle of the Cabernet area, I suppose, of Napa Valley, and by some aspects, I suppose maybe one of the best areas certainly in the world for growing grapes and Cabernet in particular.
And what would you say sets you apart, sets Paradigm apart from some of the other brands out there?
Well, I think the biggest thing is probably our ability to make a super premium Cabernet bottle of wine and sell it for $84 a bottle. Our neighbors, which include our immediate neighbors, meaning those that are right around us, are Opus One's Reserve Vineyard, Martha's Vineyard, Harlan, Contessa, Dominus. And we're selling a wine, I think, that stands up well to any of those labels at far less than half the price they are achieving in the market. And the way we do that is by, number one, not having to buy any grapes. We grow everything we make, and we grow it organically. We also sell a very heavy proportion of our wine direct to consumers. Thank God for Springboard, and they certainly introduced us around rather well. But when you do that, you kind of cut out a few middlemen here and there. And so my wife and I still make a reasonable profit at $84 a bottle versus some of our neighbors that get into multiple hundreds of dollars. And I think that kind of stands us apart. Plus, we've been at it pretty long. There's not too many people that have survived for this many years that are still with us. I started out fairly young, and my wife's 363 days younger than I am. So hopefully we got another decade left in us. I don't know.
You better, Ren. That's a requirement. So,
I'm looking at so far so good.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite part in this process?
I do. I think it's the people you are with and the places you're welcome because of the product we're associated with. And I think the two most important aspects of drinking wine are really who you're with and where you're at. And that comes how great the wine is. But it opens a lot of doors for us, which is fun. The people I meet literally from all over the world come to Napa Valley, come to Paradigm. I even had a couple in here from Mongolia. That would have been last summer. But yeah, it's an interesting world we live in. And it's fun seeing all those folks and knowing that our wine goes back with them to these various places. And it's a kick. And it's nice to be associated with something that's relative to enjoyable meals and enjoyable company and people appreciating and taking a moment perhaps to enjoy life as opposed to just slug your way through it. And you feel very much a part of that, and it's kind of cool. I feel quite blessed in being able to do this, and the people in Napa Valley that we work with. In the recent fires up here, we all helped each other, and we were babysitting kids so people could pick grapes because the kids weren't in school. And we had a neighborhood fire watch, watching for embers that might come through the air and land and start another fire. I had neighbors running samples, wine samples to laboratories, shopping for us. It was, yeah, it was nice. It was a fire, it wasn't good certainly, but it was nice to see all that come to pass, just sort of unfolded naturally. So it's a nice place to be and nice people to be surrounded by. And I'm very blessed by our workforce. I have 6 full-time guys. 2 of them have been with me 30 years. Fernando and Pedro, as of this coming year, will be 30 years at Paradigm. And I have 2 gentlemen, both named Antonio, that'll be here 24 years. And then, yeah, and the one, Israel, he's a newcomer at 5 years. And then we have another Jose that's been here about 14 years. And it's nice to surround yourself with these folks. And I used to have to know how to speak Spanish anymore. They've all learned English. A couple of them own their own homes. 2 of them have kids in school, college. They're all going to school. They won't become farm workers, which I guess is a plus in some respects, but you wonder where the next guys are going to come from. Right now, my main duty, I suppose, is to be a cheerleader. They know exactly what needs to be done and how to do it well. And at my advanced age, I can let them do it without having to jump in and try to keep up. I can't do it anymore. But it's a nice way to live. I surround myself with some pretty good folks, and yeah, it's fun to come to work every day. Yeah.
Do you have shifting? What's that?
I said I hate to even call it work, but anyway.
I like that. Do you, shifting gears a little bit, do you have obviously it's been a very difficult year in many ways for many people. Do you have anything that has surprised you in a positive way that's come out of all this?
Well, I mentioned how everybody jumped together and joined forces and helped each other out. That wasn't a surprise, but it's definitely a positive thing. And we have been at this for, as I said, 53 years full time, my wife and I. So you meet a lot of people, and they're constantly being wished well, sent care packages, a lot of odds and ends come through, the odd piece of cake, some candy, some artwork from various kids here and there, and sweaters and dish towels that have been embroidered and that kind of thing. It's kind of a kick, and life has gone on pretty much as usual. We just weren't able to make use of very many of our grapes. We'll have rosé from 2020, and that might be it. Which means we'll make use of about 10 tons out of 200 tons. On the other hand, this would be my actually 57th harvest, because I did work at it part-time a couple years before Marilyn and I were married. Not managed to set, so some injury, and we lost a couple of lives actually. But you line that up with the COVID we've experienced this year, and it's been an interesting year. But you count your blessings. We've got 3 nice grandkids, raised a couple of kids, got a lot of friendly neighbors, and I get to enjoy another day like today. And an interesting thing happened just yesterday, but I got a record autographed Bruce Springsteen, autographed by his bass player, Gary Talent, member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Just appeared out of the blue. The kind of people that visit Paradigm, he's been here with his girlfriend, Nikki Naylor, a couple of times, and they felt I needed a little uplifting, and it was good. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that is like a perfect segue, because my next question was, do you have a soundtrack, or have you had a soundtrack, something you've been listening to, more than other things?
Well, yeah, I have been an aficionado of blues, jazz, rock and roll, pretty much all my life. And I've got a bunch of little discs, and we've replaced tapes with little tiny discs. Now we play in the car, but I'm constantly got a reverie of songs that I like. Just this morning I was listening to Bruce Springsteen, as luck would have it again, playing Up All Night at a concert in Dublin, Ireland. Very well, very good song. It's pretty lively, a lot of fun, great to dance to, hard to beat. My way in this morning, I was listening to Jimmy Reed sing "Honest I Do," and growing up in San Francisco as I did, I saw Jimmy Reed sing that song myself several times, because he used to hang out at in North Beach in San Francisco, where near where I grew up, and used to see him wander around various nightclubs with his harmonica in his pocket at all times. He always jumped up on stage when anybody asked him, and he got asked a lot. So that was fun. So I kind of wallow in old time music that I was able to dance to over the years, and it's been fun. And I think you've been at a gig or two at my house where we had some of that going on. We're still at it. Yeah.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure you're still dancing to that whenever Marilyn can get you out on the dance floor.
It's not hard. It's not hard at all. Yeah.
No. Okay, well, final question, and then I will let you get back to your Friday. And I'm actually really curious about the answer to this. Do you have a desert island drink, like the thing that you would, if you could only have one thing to drink for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Well, wow. Boy, that's a hard one. You mean other than wine, you mean?
It could be wine, if that's, if that's what you would pick.
I would probably go with some Paradigm Cabernet if I was to pick one thing. We have gone to a great deal of trouble, and it's kind of high adventure, where we find a new clone of Cabernet somebody's growing and making wine out of, and we'll bring it into Paradigm and play games with it. If we like it, we'll plant an acre or two. So we're now up to I think 7 different clones of Cabernet at Paradigm on half a dozen different rootstocks. And we marry a little Cabernet Franc into that. Current one, I think, has got 2% Cab Franc, 4% Petit Verdot, and maybe 7% Merlot. And even the Merlot is a unique clone of Merlot smuggled into the country in Mike Stone's suitcase in 1968. Known as the Bear Flat clone, after the vineyard that Mike Stone, founder of Sterling, introduced it to. Got some leadwood from Mike back in '75. We've been growing it ever since. So yeah.
Okay,
it's fun.
Now here we go, Ren. This might not be a very nice question then. What about the vintage? Could you pick a vintage? So it's Paradigm Cabernet, but what's your vintage that you're going to keep with you for the rest of your life?
Napa Valley is the easiest place. I don't like to belittle my efforts and efforts of others, but it's the easiest place in the world, I'm pretty sure, to grow fine wine, fine grapes. I've been to France, Germany, Italy, New Zealand, Australia, all over this country, parts of South America. And we have got it pretty easy in terms of weather, soil. I'd like to see a little bit less effort at maybe polluting the environment and creating climate change, because that's definitely happened in my lifetime here, where things have changed in that regard. But hopefully we're on top of it. It seems to be happening or about to happen. Yeah, I pick a vintage. You know, things surprise you, but the 16 we're selling right now is very hard to beat. The 15 just before it, I'd say the only shaky years I've had up here were this one, of course, where we probably won't ever make a Cabernet, or at least we certainly won't ever bottle one. But the 72 vintage, we had 12.5 inches of rain during harvest, and that didn't come out too good. And then in 1970, we had 28 nights in April of frost in a row, and we lost most of that crop. And what came out afterwards didn't make the best wine in the world, although we did have a crop. But short of those two, they've all been pretty good. And the 13, while still a little harsh to drink, 10 years from now might prove to be one of the best things we've ever done. It was a drought year. It was the only year so far I ever chose to irrigate in January, because we had no rain and we had some warmish weather coming, and I was afraid the grapevines were going to try to grow in January. That would not have been a good thing. And this year we might be doing that again. So far we've had under 2 inches of rain, and it's the end of December. Things are getting dry, and this might be the second time I irrigate in January. I don't know, but we'll work with it, whatever it takes.
Yeah, everybody's putting their energy into the world for rain. Let's just get some rain.
Yes.
Save us all some rain. Well, thank you so much, Ren. It is always lovely to talk to you. So thank you for making time.
Best to Sister Sybil and your team. You guys do a fantastic job, and we love you all dearly.